Welcome one and all on back to the Point of View podcast, where where everything we tell you is true.
From a certain point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view. Also, we are Venom.
Yeah, Venom.
Great movie.
Look.
Okay, hang on. Jerrod loves this movie, but also like has the weirdest opinion ever.
Oh, it
about.
is.
I don't understand it all. So please elaborate and enlighten us as the listeners what the heck you're talking about when you talk about Venom.
This movie was glorious,
Why?
but it was also incredibly stupid.
Okay, what the heck? Why? No, it wasn't stupid.
Okay. Let me just I've written down some of the moments that I found to be sort of hilarious in this. Well, there was the part where Venom made out with Eddie Brock, which I believe was the best kiss in cinema ever since Femke Johansson made out with James Marsden to death in X-Men.
Okay, hang.
So that was one thing about this.
Okay, so I think Venom did that to mess with Eddie because it was Venom's idea, and I think he was trying.
No, and I get
Venom
that,
wanted Annie to go back to Eddie,
Yeah.
and I think he was trying to get Annie to do that to go back to Eddie.
No, and like I get that it was supposed to be like a joke.
It was
Like,
ironic.
I do think that like
It
all
shows
of the
Venom's sense of
comedy-
humor was hilarious.
Yeah, and I think all the comedy in this movie was deliberate. Like this
It was
wasn't.
very well delivered
Yeah.
too.
There was. I don't know. I mean, I just have like so many questions about this. Like, because when you talk about the villain, like he had that lab also where they were just straight up murdering
Talk about
people.
life. Yeah.
Spoilers for Venom, by the way.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Because they were basically
The Life
like
Foundation.
I mean, I guess that's not really a huge spoiler. They reveal it within like the first
No,
30
no,
minutes of the
no.
movie. But they were just straight up offing like tons and tons of people.
Yeah, I will. I
lab.
agree with you. Too many people got killed off too
Yeah.
quickly. Like what's her face's Mona Lisa's doctor character?
Oh,
What's her name in real
Jenna
life?
Slate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slate's character got killed off way too quickly.
Yeah.
I
agree
didn't
with
get that.
Mhm.
Okay, they just have her try to bond with a symbiote and then she just dies.
Yeah.
Okay, she kind of, triggered this
And,
whole
like,
movie.
Don't you think? I don't know. I was just kind of like, how could a company get away with that? Like, just from a logistics standpoint.
Yeah, because
where do they put the
Drake's,
corpses?
well,
Also,
Drake-
there's the other part.
Drake's
where-
money.
Yeah,
he had
he's-
money.
He had money, obviously. But here's my other thing, is so they had no problem just murdering tons and tons of people in this lab. But then when Eddie Brock gets in the lab, they don't kill him in there. They take him out into the middle of a forest?
No, that wasn't him. That was Venom.
No, it was Eddie Brock.
No, Venom told him to run.
But, like, they took him out into the forest, like, to shoot him, basically. Bodyguard dude who gets his head bitten off.
Oh, you're talking about after he gets captured?
Yeah, after he gets captured.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Right.
I
That
was
did
kinda
not
like,
make sense.
Yeah.
After when Venom was out of him and it was in Annie. Yeah,
Exactly,
okay, my
yeah.
bad. I forgot.
Also, how
Yeah,
does he
that was
afford
definitely just to set up Venom getting back to Eddie.
Exactly.
That's all that was.
How does he afford that apartment?
The one that he's in?
Unemployed for 6 months.
Was it
in
for 6
San
months?
Francisco.
Who knows? Maybe he went
Yeah.
into debt.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess they did show him like struggling to pay his bills, but
Dude,
I
wasn't
feel
the
like you should just leave San Francisco.
wasn't the part where he goes and eats the dead fish or old chicken out of the garbage?
Oh, that was gross.
That was grody.
That was real gross.
Okay, side point, and this is cool because it shows the loyalty to the comics. So the Venom symbiote actually craves human brain, not
Yeah.
because it wants to kill people, but because the brain has a certain hormone that is that the symbiote craves.
Yeah.
You know what else has that same hormone?
What?
Lobster.
Oh,
Remember what he did? Remember what he did in the restaurant?
He bit the lobster.
He jumped into the lobster tank and ate the lobster.
Yeah.
That was Venom. That was Venom craving the lobster,
That does.
which I thought was I didn't even know that.
That's
And
a
I was
good
watching
thing. Yeah,
a
I didn't
Looper
even think
Looper
about
video. I think is what a Looper video on YouTube. talking about it. Just like 5 like little details that Venom did that you didn't notice type thing. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it's just cool to see little details like that noticed by writers and directors, producers from the comics.
Yeah, and that's a
they
cool
bring it
little
into the
detail to
movies.
put in there.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I feel like we enjoyed this movie in different ways, I think, because, I mean, I had a good old time watching this. I
just thought it was fun because
was fun.
Venom had like a funny personality,
Yeah.
and the whole losers bond that they had, where he's like, "I'm not gonna lie to you, Eddie. On my planet, I'm kind of a loser."
Yeah,
that made
and
me
that's
laugh
like,
so hard.
That's also kind of like a comic thing, because like he gets kicked off his planet because like he doesn't want to consume his host. Basically, he wants to like bond with the host, which isn't.
They had hosts
symbiote
on their
thing.
planet.
Well, they would like he was like exiled from the rest of the symbiotes basically because of that. Like they said he was insane. Yeah, I mean, overall though, this movie really it reminded me a lot of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and also kind of like the early X-Men.
But why? Because the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies had a lot more issues than Venom did. So I don't know if I would.
I don't know if I would
I'm
necessarily.
just saying,
say
be
that.
careful.
I think that a lot of it was the same, like in terms of the tone that these movies hit.
This just made me think of something.
What?
Please continue. I'll tell you after you're done with your point.
Okay, I
Sorry.
think that the tone that these movies hit was very similar. Yeah, it just in terms of the vibe that I got from it, the type of humor that it had, even like the plot itself, the way it was structured. I think like it was sort of that early superhero movie, that early 2000s superhero movie type of thing.
Oh, well, okay, sure. You know, a dragging out origin story of sorts, down on his luck type thing, and then a symbiote finds its way to him.
Yeah, they
what I was
had like an Eminem came in and made the song for this.
Okay,
it felt like
dude,
Will Smith.
Venom is a good track.
Well, but I'm like, my thing about it is like it's like kind of like how Will Smith would come in and like have a rap like about Wild
Men in
West
Black.
or something like that, or Men in Black. It just felt like that to me, which it's a very 2000s thing to do. Where like, so you see what I'm trying to say? Like,
Sure.
It felt dated in a way. Not that that was a bad thing, but it just didn't feel like a movie that would get released in 2018.
Yeah, I think part of that too was I think it was the budget that affected that.
I can see that
because I see what you're saying. But also too, the vibe they wanted to have with Venom was kind of this pseudo comic type look to it. A lot of gray tones, a lot of action shots that looked like they were out of a comic.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like when Venom is catches the smoke bomb, for instance.
Yeah,
that shot looked like it was out of a comic book.
Yeah, and my thing about it is
the Venom comics were I mean that comic line specifically, this Eddie Brock comic line came out in the 90s.
Yeah, and like I think
the story they went off of with Carlton Drake and the Life Foundation and all that crap. What I was going to tell you. Sorry,
okay,
sorry to
what were you
interrupt.
gonna
I
say?
need to tell you.
Yeah,
because you brought up Sam Raimi's
Spider-Man
movies.
Yeah.
Have
you was missing a now dig on this, but
have you watched the pitch meeting videos?
I don't think
on
I
YouTube.
Have, no.
Oh man, this one guy makes them where like he's speaking as a producer and then the director.
Yeah.
He's like, "So you got a Spider-Man script for me?" "Yes, sir, I do." You know.
And just pointing.
We're
gonna
take everything that people loved about all the previous movies and put them into this movie.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, so a lot of Spider-Man web slinging fighting action because a lot of people loved that." He's like, "No, relationship problems with Peter and MJ."
Oh, was it like? Was it talking about Spider-Man
Making
3?
fun of Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, Spider-Man 3 pitch meeting is what it is. And it brought out so many blatantly dumb things that movie did.
And you know, Spider-Man 3 is bad, but it's not as bad as people remember it being.
Dude, I just watched it about a week ago.
I mean, but if you watch that and compare it to like the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, they're
See,
kind of
I
on par
liked
in a
that
lot of
movie.
ways. Really,
I liked the first one.
I don't dislike any of. I think
Careful.
the third one
Really?
is real stupid. I don't dislike it though.
Like Topher Grace as Eddie Brock was just.
I don't think he was that bad. I mean,
Next
I feel
question.
like that he's definitely not like the person I imagine in that role, but I don't think it was necessarily like him.
And having being a rival photographer, I mean, Eddie Brock was a reporter, not a photographer.
No, I get that, and they changed a bunch of stuff in that movie. Like,
Wasn't
they had
Raimi-
organic web slingers in that movie?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Also, that totally went away from the comics.
Yeah.
Wasn't Raimi strong-armed by the studio to put Venom in that movie?
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah.
It was one of them. No, it definitely was Venom. Because I think it was originally just supposed to be Sandman.
Which it's a weird villain choice.
I think like that was probably that stuff was the best part of that third movie though. Of Spider-Man 3 was the stuff with Sandman and like his daughter and everything.
Just randomly
and how he's
rewriting the
running
first
away from-
Spider-Man movie so they could fit in a villain.
Yeah. I mean I
They
understand
just
that
rewrote the plot line for the first movie.
They did. They definitely did, but it does like tie the whole trilogy together. I understand what they were trying to do. Obviously, they did not execute it very well, but I understand what they were attempting, at least.
All right.
And another thing about Venom is this movie has gotten panned critically.
Yeah, but the user scores, the fans love it.
Mm.
The critics just don't like it.
And I understand that completely because this is a very easy movie to hate, I think, from a critic standpoint, because
Why?
the editing of this movie is not very good. It's very clunky. And the scene where I especially noticed it was when Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams, which, by the way, him and Michelle Williams had absolutely no chemistry in this movie.
Yeah, that was rough.
They were not
I
good
could agree with
together.
that.
I don't think that she also was trying at all. I think she was just present. But you could note it didn't feel like one like naturally flowing moment. It felt very broken up. That part where they were having dinner together in that restaurant, and it was just very noticeable in that scene that this movie was just kind of thrown together at parts.
Yeah, I mean, and that also wasn't the main narrative between him and Annie.
No, it almost certainly wasn't.
So they weren't spending a whole lot of time on it.
Yeah. So, there was that. Some of the sound mixing wasn't that good. And I think, personally, that last action sequence was incomprehensible.
Yeah,
I
it
had
was.
no idea what was going on.
Now, I did, but I also think the climax could have been way more climactic.
Yeah.
Feels like they blew their budget on the chase scene.
The chase scene was pretty good.
Which
yeah.
was awesome. But then the climax comes around, it's like, okay, we have this much amount of money left and a rocket.
Yeah, and it kind of like turned into like the Incredible Hulk movie, kind of, where they have the Hulk against the Abomination.
Yeah.
And that was a terrible final fight, and I feel like this one was just marginally above it, because it was just two blobs half the time just going at each other. When you really break it down, it was just a black blob and a gray blob just smashing into each other.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
It's tough to follow. I agree.
And then you had like also that real weird moment where like
when Riot absorbs him.
Yeah, where Riot absorbs him, and I was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, how'd that even happen? They didn't even explain how that could happen.
And then like there's also the part where like the two symbiotes kind of pull apart, and it's like Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed just punching each other, and I completely lost my train of thought, but I'm gonna keep talking until I find it again.
Okay.
Never mind, just keep going. I was gonna make a point, but I forgot what it was.
Do you remember how they lost their symbiotes again shortly for that moment of time when then it was just him and Riz Ahmed fighting?
Didn't Michelle Williams like turn on the alarm or something
That's
like
right.
that. Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
She used the sound
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, 'cause
freak
they're-
them out.
Exactly. Yeah, but ultimately, I honestly think if you watch this movie, this is probably no worse than like Captain America: The First Avenger or like the first Thor.
Sure.
It's probably better than the Incredible Hulk. Or actually, I shouldn't even say probably. It's definitely better than the Incredible Hulk. It's
Yeah.
maybe slightly below the first Iron Man. I think that this is
The first Iron Man's a good movie.
it's pretty good. Yeah, it's the only Iron Man that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a decent starting point. It's a decent enough starting point for whatever they're trying to do.
And
Here.
they want to tie in Spider-Man at some point.
I don't think that they're actually going to be able to do that.
It won't be a Tom Holland Spider-Man, will it?
Oh, I think that
Does it
like,
have to be?
I think that what they want is to tie this in to the MCU, but that's what Sony wants, and I don't think that that is what Disney wants. I don't think that's going to happen. But
Disney, I don't think wants any part of Carnage.
oh, definitely not. Which can we talk about that wig?
Cletus Cassidy?
That was a real bad wig.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Um,
Which I think it was supposed to be, though. I think it was
Was
supposed
it?
to look bad.
I mean, I guess, but it just kind of makes the movie look a bit
Because when
cheap.
I get out,
Like,
there's gonna be carnage.
it's so weird. Like,
Was he redneck? Is that why he had red hair?
no, well, it's because Cletus Cassidy just has red hair. It's kind of like goofy like that, so they tried to go
I
with
know.
it,
I'm
but,
just
like,
making fun of the accent.
okay, I
Because
see what you're trying
Woody
to do.
Harrelson was like,
Making fun of his Texan accent.
well, yeah, because it was fake.
No,
It was
it's real.
fake Texan.
He's real Texan. He's really from Texas.
No way.
Yeah.
But
Woody
that's not
Harrelson?
actually Woody Harrelson's accent, like, naturally.
No, that is not what he sounds like.
That's not what he sounds. That's what I'm saying. That's not what he sounds like.
No,
He altered it. He altered
it
his
was
voice
real
for the character.
weird and overdone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What did you think of those after credit sequences, though?
I
They also had
okay,
the-
so I was super stoked on that one for Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
I heard there was two. I didn't realize the second one was just for Into the Spider-Verse,
Yeah,
which
I
bummed me
mean,
out. I thought it was a second Venom after scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, really? Why'd I wait for this? I wanted a Venom after scene, not this. I mean, this is cool, but
Yeah, and I was annoyed by that just because it really just it felt like an ad.
it did.
I mean, like
it didn't
technically,
belong.
technically, all after credit sequences are ads when you really break it down.
Yeah.
But like that one really just felt like we're putting this in here. Okay, now go see Into the Spider-Verse.
Now go watch it, please.
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't feel like it fit in at all. Not only because it's not a live-action movie and it doesn't take place in the same universe.
No.
It just felt like it was just tacked on, which was very strange to me.
Yeah, I was hoping for an actual Venom
Mm-hmm.
second scene.
Yeah.
I desperately wanted to see Carnage on the big screen in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Carnage suited up.
You'll probably get
We'll
you'll
get it
definitely
next
get
movie,
that in
for
the second
sure.
one. You get to see more of Woody Harrelson's wig in the second one too.
I'm excited to see what other symbiotes are birthed in
Oh,
this next
yeah.
movie, because it won't just be Carnage.
It'll probably
Can Venom beat Carnage by himself?
yeah. I mean, I think it has to. It has to just be because the issue that you run into with these things is you're just gonna be having all these movies be, you have a hero with one set of powers fighting a villain with a incredibly similar set of powers.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sustain that just on forever, basically.
There needs to be some creativity.
Yeah, there needs to be something else that they can bring in. I don't know what they're going to bring in because obviously it looks like they're going to do Carnage at this point. And that's Carnage is pretty similar to Venom, I would have to say.
Right.
So
Is Carnage a tad bit stronger?
you know, I don't actually know which one is. I guess it would be Carnage, wouldn't it?
Height-wise, Carnage, I think, is shorter than Venom.
Yeah,
Now, speaking of the actual
I think it. Yeah,
visuals, the visual aesthetic of the symbiotes, what do you think of the way Venom looked and Riot?
I love the way Riot looked. Because there's that one line that Tom Hardy says about how like, oh, that's the nastiest thing I've ever seen, and it really was. Like he was just,
Yeah.
it was real janky looking. It kind of looked like he had like weird like cuts almost, like just kind of like exposed tissue almost in the way that he looked.
Yeah.
He looked real creepy, so that was good. I wasn't a huge fan of the way Venom looked.
Why?
I felt like he was too veiny.
Too veiny?
Yeah, like you could see like he had like little veins and everything a little bit. Like there
Yeah,
were those-
but that's kind of how he's portrayed in the comics, though, remember?
well, he also has like the big spider logo too. So
yeah.
and they
What
didn't have.
what
that
was
in
the reason of
this.
the spider logo?
Well, because he originally, when Peter Parker got, I don't know, you say infected by Venom, he had that black suit with the
Was
spider
Peter
logo.
the first host?
Yes.
He was.
Mhm.
He was the first host for the symbiote.
Yeah, and then he like ran into a bell and got rid of it.
So that actually follows the comics in the third Spider-Man?
a little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Really? And
Mm-hmm.
then he finds Eddie Brock.
It's actually decently similar. I mean, obviously streamlined, but he goes to the bell. That gets rid of Venom when he runs into the bell. And then the symbiote finds Eddie Brock
Eddie
after
Brock.
a certain point because the symbiote hates Spider-Man because it got rid of Spider-Man. Peter Parker
Got rid of him.
him. Yeah.
Interesting. So Venom starts out as a villain, but then Venom transitions into a hero/anti-hero.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many different Venoms I can't even keep up to.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
You're
because
right.
there's like Eddie Brock, and then there's the Flash Thompson Venom. There's a bunch.
Flash Thompson Venom.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's like a government agent type of Venom, basically, because like I don't know what it's like. The U.S. government basically like captures Venom and wants to use it as a weapon, and not Eddie Brock, Flash Thompson basically becomes the host that uses it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like
Huh.
Agent Venom or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's Flash Thompson. I thought it was Eddie
Mhm.
Brock.
No,
Still,
that's
it's a
Flash
different
Thompson.
timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, or a different storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I thought Venom looked really, really good. I mean, yeah, he didn't have the spider logo because there's no Spider-Man host.
Yeah.
But everything just gets compared to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 Venom because that Venom was so bad.
It wasn't good.
It looked so terrible.
Yeah.
And this Venom is how Venom's supposed to look.
It
in my
definitely
opinion.
looked
a tall
better than that.
figure,
Yeah.
slimy looking, the
Mhm.
tongue coming out. I mean,
Yeah.
licking his enemies, tasting them because he craves the human brain type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the eyes especially. I loved the Venom
They
eyes
looked good,
in this
yeah,
movie.
I
They
will
looked
say that.
so good.
I think that the face, like that, all looked
the whole
good.
face aesthetic looked beautiful.
I think it was just the torso that I had a problem with.
Sure,
in the
sure.
way that it appeared, just because it looks a bit strange to just have nothing at all on the chest, and then to have like those weird.
because we
little
were
white
used to
things.
seeing this white spider.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's a bit strange to me, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're saying.
yeah.
Overall, I liked it though. I
Yeah.
liked the portrayal of Venom, and like you were saying, Riot. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that symbiote looked so good.
Yeah. And I think, because one of my other things about this movie, I was very confused what Riot was. I mean, okay. Because there's that entire part in the beginning of the movie with Riot in Malaysia, and then he becomes the little girl, and that felt like it took place in a different movie. Because all those scenes felt like they were out of a horror movie. But then
Getting Riot over to the Life Foundation.
yeah, when he's like the little girl and everything, all that stuff, I felt like that was just totally separate from all the stuff that was going on with Venom and Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
So it felt a bit strange to me. But personally, I think what we could have used more of in this movie was more of Riot with Carlton Drake with Riz Ahmed.
I agree.
Because we only got
That one little
scene,
sequence where they're
basically.
talking to each other. I
And-
liked that a lot too.
Yeah, and I liked it too, but I could have used more of that.
Yeah.
Because I have
Absolutely.
no real idea of what was going on. Like,
Well, you bring up a good point. I
Yeah.
loved the dialogue. Goodness, the dialogue between symbiote and host.
yeah,
in this
I
movie.
do too.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliantly done between Carlton Drake talking to Riot,
Mm-hmm.
Venom talking to Eddie,
Yeah.
having these actual conversations with the symbiote that's bonded to you. Like, it was just brilliant. And Riot was going to kill Carlton Drake.
And that was
That's
one
what's
of
interesting.
that was one of my questions: was Riot just using Carlton Drake?
He was.
Or were they?
Because remember, Carlton Drake corrects him. We are gonna do this. And he's
Yeah.
like, yes, we.
And I feel like
Riot was gonna eat Carlton Drake when they
and
got
I
to
mean,
the planet.
You can infer that, but I feel like it could have used a little bit more, if you know what I mean. Like
Sure.
a little bit. There just could have been more of the two of them, more
Yeah.
clear motivations of what Riot was really about, because he was really just
Team leader,
I'm
trying to
just
get
gonna,
more symbiotes to the Earth.
just gonna get a bunch of symbiotes here, and we're gonna just destroy the planet, basically. And I feel like that could have been clearer, or even
Sure.
just done like a little bit better, a little bit more completely.
Did the symbiotes all look like that on their home planet?
Yeah.
Are they goopy or are they big creatures?
Well, they're like the creatures.
They are?
Yeah, but as far as I know, at least they are the creatures. But then I don't know exactly what the explanation is.
So
of
they're just
why
like puddles
goopy,
of goop
but
when they're looking for a host on a different planet.
yeah.
So on their home
'Cause
planet,
I
they
don't
have
believe
full
I
form.
don't believe that on their home planet they're just goop rolling around like that. I'm like
They don't need
yeah.
hosts, right?
Yeah.
On their home planet,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't need hosts. I mean, when they're in outer space, because they can't function because the oxygen, right? On Earth, they need something else to actually breathe the oxygen to transfer to them.
I don't remember what was the explanation in the movie that
I
they
don't
gave?
remember. They
I-
gave a good explanation for it. I just don't remember
and
what it
I
was.
literally forgot what it was. I forgot all the pseudoscience from this movie.
Yeah,
But
really
yeah.
fun science in this movie, though. I thought it was interesting.
I would say so. It's definitely like an interesting thing to explore. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was probably the biggest letdown for me, though, is that there wasn't more Riot and Carlton Drake. But
Sure.
you know. And I actually like that villain. I like that archetype of a villain where
Me
it's
too.
basically just Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah,
pretty much.
Mark Zuckerberg with a symbiote.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So, I had my problems with it, obviously. I thought it was a real goofy movie. But I definitely had a good time. And
I did too.
That's,
and it
Yeah.
sets up the next movie very well.
yeah, Woody Harrelson's wig. I'm never going to get over that, because...
It was a perm. The red perm.
Oh, it...
RCP. Red Carnage perm.
Red Carnage perm. Yeah, it just looked bad, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, anything more? What do you have to add about it?
I'm intrigued to see where they want to take this universe, starting it with the Venom.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Sony has tried twice for Spider-Man, failed. Now MCU is using Spider-Man, rightfully so, because Sony's screwed that up twice. And now they're using an anti-hero to set something up. And I think it's a bold move, but it also could pay off enormous dividends because no one's ever had a good symbiote movie yet.
And the thing is, I literally
Until now.
don't know what they're doing. Like, are they gonna go and make a Sinister Six movie? Like,
How
that
would
has
they?
no Spider-Man in it.
You can't.
I don't know what is gonna happen with this. So, I mean, I guess I'm curious to see what they do. This is not getting rolled into the MCU, despite what they may think.
Yeah. They're just
yeah.
trying to say that to put their name up there.
Oh, definitely.
Sony's trying to say that to show that they're relevant to the Disney aspect of, to the MCU aspect
Yeah.
of these characters.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it makes sense why they'd want to be in the MCU. They would make more money with the movies that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but I I can't see that ever happening. And it's fine. I'm perfectly okay. I feel like the world needs this weird, goofy thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said before, no one has had a good symbiote movie till today.
Yeah.
And people have wanted to see Carnage on the big screen portrayed correctly. Same thing with Venom. And there's many other symbiotes that should be portrayed.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with this.
It's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this.
Yeah.
Well, next episode, what are we going to talk about?
Oh man, I don't even know.
I think we got some Star Wars stuff to talk about. Clone
Probably.
Wars coming back. That's a
Oh, yeah,
huge
that's back.
piece of news.
I don't actually know what else there is.
Episode 9 theories. I mean, we're only a year away now.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have.
We're what, 5 to 6 months from a trailer,
Probably, I would say so.
give or take.
Yeah, not that long. We have Aquaman coming up. We have. I don't remember what other movies are coming out this year. Something though.
Yeah.
Robin Hood.
Yes. Yes. Robin Hood
Yeah.
for sure. Well, we thank you all very much for listening. We hope you all see Venom and enjoy Venom. It's a fantastic film.
It's okay.
Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy plays a great Eddie Brock. Go see this movie. It's worth it. It's very fun. A lot of laughs.
Yeah, good
And it's
dynamic
gonna-
between Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy. Which also, one other thing, I'm able to excuse this because I do think that the dynamic between Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy was good enough. But why did Venom just decide that he wasn't going to destroy the world anymore?
Because he read Eddie Brock's thoughts.
Yeah, and that's another thing where like I'll write it off because Venom and
And they
Eddie Brock,
openly
like,
said
they
that
worked.
he could read thoughts.
Yeah.
And Eddie Brock changed his mind because of his brain.
Yeah, I'll give that a pass, but
Riz Ahmed won a
It was
world
just-
domination. That's why Riot loved
yeah,
him.
that's true. That's true.
Venom, like you said, refuses to engulf his hosts.
Yeah, and
And
Carnage,
devour his hosts.
Carnage becomes a killer because
Carnage is
he bonds to a
bloodlust.
serial killer.
Yep.
Yeah.
He bonds to serial
Yeah,
killer because
no.
he has bloodlust. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the only thing that I had to bring up last thing.
Well, we thank you all very much for listening to the Point of View podcast, where everything we tell you is true.
From a certain point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view. We will catch you all next time
Talking about something.
talking about something. Oh, man. We'll see you all later.
Strangler attack, so this ain't gonna feel like a love tap. Eat painkiller pills from a blood track, like what's her name's at the wheel. Then a cup patch through the car in the reverse at the Indian.